right, Lions postgame continues. Hammer's headed up to the locker room to get some reaction from the players today. We'll hear from Dan Campbell coming up momentarily. Look, there's two stories here, Lomas. You can talk about this game, and certainly this was a game where Houston outplayed the Lions pretty much every phase, dominated it with their offense.
They did. I mean, Houston came out, and they performed. They really did. We seen it in practice. They wanted to be a physical team. They ran the ball. I thought they were very balanced today. They were able to run the ball when they had to, and they were able to throw the ball. I thought this Houston Texans offense looked like it's kind of in form for the regular season coming up. But again, they haven't seen our full load.
No, so, and we haven't seen theirs. We didn't see C.J. Stroud. We didn't see Nick Chubb. We didn't see those guys, and they didn't see the Lions. Coaches will evaluate what happened in this game, and that's really where this thing is going from here. And one of the things I'm sure Dan Campbell will discuss, Houston scored in their first 3 possessions to put those 16 points on the board, and that really is what hung them in there for most of the game. Lions, as you guys discussed a moment ago, with a nice drive by Kyle Allen. Other than that, not much offensively. But just to give you an idea where this thing goes from here, after this game, Dan Campbell will go over the game film. Coaches go over the game film. Brad Holmes goes over the game film. His staff goes over the game film. Campbell goes with his staff, gets their ideas on the roster. Holmes goes with his staff, gets their idea on the roster. Then it's Holmes and Campbell that come together. They will make the ultimate call on this roster and what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big process. He kind of explained it to us, but he also told us, Dan, this is one of the hardest days for him. And the thing that I loved about Coach, what he says, he's going in there and he's going to be honest with these guys. And I don't think there's any other way you could be with a guy, especially when you're getting ready to deliver some of the bad news that you're getting ready to deliver to them. So kudos to Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, how our organization handled cutting guys.
But to your point, it is difficult mentally and physically. Mentally because you care for these guys. They've given you everything they've got from the offseason through training camp, through 4 preseason games, up until now, and then you have to sit in a room with some of them and say it's not good enough.
Yeah,
and that's a difficult thing to do. And when you have played the game like Dan Campbell has, and you've been around the game and played the game like Brad Holmes has, you know what that moment means to a player. Now, some of them will be back on the practice squad. Some of them may not. We'll have to wait and see. But physically, it's tough because these next 72 hours, they are grinding not just over their roster, but really over every roster in the NFL, because there may be possible players from other teams that they pick up. Detroit Lions' makeup of their roster may not be here in Ford Field today. There's a really good chance that there is at least one player that will be on their roster that goes to Green Bay to play that game, certainly on the practice squad, that isn't here in a Lions uniform right now.
I mean, that's just such a great point that you made, and he said that, and it has to be nerve-wracking. Think about a guy, I've been in that situation once, but think about a guy that's sitting there and you think you made the team initially, and yet and still they're still scouring, trying to find guys that may be.
That's the unkindest cut of all.
It really is.
Tuesday night, you think you're on the team. Somebody gets cut by somebody else. Up, and Wednesday you find out you're not on the team. But it's a difficult process, but you know what you're signing up for when you try to play in the National Football League. It's a difficult thing. Hendon Hooker needed a statement today. Didn't get it. A couple of nice moments, but a bad interception and really just an inability to move this offense. We saw it move under Kyle Allen, in particular on the one drive, but Hendon Hooker just not able to sustain anything.
I go back to 2 things Coach Campbell said he was going to look for from Hendon. He said his feet and his accuracy. That was 2 things that Coach said he was going to look to see if Hendon improved in that area. Again, I kept saying that the feet were moving. When your feet aren't steady, that's when you sail passes or underthrow passes, and he just wasn't as accurate as he could have been today.
All right, to the podium we go. Dan Campbell standing by, addressing the media.
And some guys even longer potentially, that have been here with us. I just appreciate everything that they've given and that they've brought to the team, but also themselves, And I told those guys they should be proud of themselves, and this will, shake out in the next 72 hours. No matter what happens, they should be proud of themselves and just keep pushing forward. So you know, that's what this is. You know, it's hard. It's hard this time of year, and you hate it for some of these guys because of what they do. They lay it on the line. You know, as far as the game, put a huge burden on the defense there. You go 1 of 7, third down, and 0 for 2 on fourth down. That's a major strain on your defense. So would have liked to gotten some 3 and outs on defense. You know, that helps alleviate something there, but just not good enough, you know, in that regard.
I don't know if my first read is right, but a lot of times the last preseason game, you want to see the jump, you know, that big game, one of the bubble guys. Didn't seem necessarily like that happened today. I don't know if you agree with that just on first glance. And so what does that do to the evaluation?
Yeah, well, if it is, it would have to be somebody who's doing dirty work. You know, that you're not going to just, it won't necessarily pop. You're going to have to go watch the tape, because I don't disagree with, you know, I didn't feel like anything else really was very glaring in a positive manner, if you will.
Kyle and Isaac, first the slant.
Yeah.
Third down, and then the deep play. What did you see there, and just in this whole preseason from those two guys?
I thought Kyle did a good job again. This is 3 games in a row, and practice too. You know, we can't ever forget about these practices. He's really, you know, look, he had some errors in that Chargers game when to start the season out, and really from then he's just gotten better and better and better. And today was just evidence again of him, you know, really stepping up, man. I thought he did a good job. That drive was outstanding. The third down was a really good throw. Tesla took the time to win. You know, it was a very composed route. It was a very detailed route, which, you know, that tells you that he's taking the coaching and he's growing. And then the fade was just a beautiful ball, beautiful route, beautiful catch. So I was pleased with both of those guys. You know, it's good to see Kyle really you know, take it to where he's gone, feel very comfortable with him. And then Tesla, you know, he just continues to get better and better. And every time he makes a play, every time he does something, you gain the trust of everybody around you, the coaches, but also your teammates that are watching.
How good of evaluation could you get on Tesla, just based on how little first team action saw in terms of like facing your top cornerbacks, facing top cornerbacks in the team? Is that just naturally part of where his development is, or do you need to maybe see him against carry on and lead here before the season?
No, I feel pretty good. I mean, look, he gets those guys in one-on-ones. He gets them in practice a little bit, you know, and our 2 corners are they're good players. You know, this isn't like, you know, we need to go find somebody that, you know, so he's taking reps with the ones. He's been in there with golf. He's had to run on good versus good. So he's no different than any young player. He's just he's going to have some growing pains, and he's going to have to continue to get better and better. But I'm very pleased. We're very pleased with where he's at after 6 weeks of camp, because that's really what it's been. We just finished 6 weeks. So I would say if you took most receivers, he'd be in the upper echelon of those as far as development. You know, it's pretty good, you know, because it's not easy to develop as a receiver in this league and be ready to go. And I think there's a place for him to help us early in this season.
Do you anticipate having tough decisions on cut day, or do you have a pretty good grasp of who you like to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a couple of areas where we got to decide, you know, what we want to do. I think most of it feels pretty good. We have a pretty good feel, pretty good idea. We know what the vision is for the player, where they belong. But there'll be a couple, you know, that'll be difficult, you know, because I think some of it too is really like the player, but no different than what other teams do to our roster. You know, Brad, we're looking for, if we can upgrade in some areas, can we upgrade? And are they better than somebody we may be talking about keeping? Those are the hard things, you know. So we'll see. You know, we'll see where that is.
Talked the other day about the pros and cons of keeping a third quarterback. Just as this comes to an end, what are some of the things that you're weighing when it comes to handling the pros and cons of this?
Yeah, well, just as far as keeping the third quarterback, or yeah, I mean, I think, look, it's always going to be, how much development do you believe there is? All right, because look, we're talking about Hooker right now. Okay, so how much development do you believe there still is? you know, sometimes does the player need to change the scenery? What about our own depth in other areas? I mentioned this the other day. Relative to that, all right, maybe there's room to grow. Okay, well, is that worth it for the depth that we need at O-line, D-line, receiver, DB? And so those are all things you got to weigh. So, you know, look, I wish Hooker would, you know, and I know he does, would have had a little bit better outing, but it's also, you got to take it with a grain of salt. It's not like he was playing with our first O-line out there or first team skill position, all of that, right? So you take that all into account as well. So, you know, I thought he was prepared. I thought he was ready and looked pretty calm, and it just, circumstances didn't work out today, that's all.
Did Nowoski and Strickland show you a little something today?
What's that?
Nowoski and Strickland show you a little bit today?
Well, they made plays, right? I thought both of those guys, when there was a play being made that really stuck out, those were the two guys that were making them. That was good to see. You know, I did think Now played at a high level today. I thought look, you could see the physical, but I thought, man, he was in it mentally. Like, he was pretty locked in. I thought he was, which, look, that's all, some of that is raw for him playing the stack backer. And you know, he was running the mic, the middle linebacker, making the calls, and then I just thought he played a pretty cerebral game too, which is good to see, man. That means he's growing and developing. And then certainly Strick, man, he's a ball hawk. You know, he finds the ball, and he did that again, man. 2 big plays down there in the red zone were good to see.
How about anything, Larry, last two? Sailors, just what do you got a thing that his ankle would say went back in there today? Oh, the huge number today always seems to be in yards. Just what do you see from him throughout camp?
Look, I've said this before, I kind of like Sailors, man, and I mean that in a good way. Like, there's something about him, man. He's kind of a football player. You know, he's pretty crafty, pretty nifty. He's got detail to what he does, man. The runs, the landmarks, the check downs. So, you know, there's something there, and you know, we like him, and it was good to see him go back in there and play a little bit. So I think he's a football player.
Dan, congrats from the opener. You know, what your big picture view is, where you're at right now, where you are.
Well, what I not like? Thank God it's here. Almost. It's time, you know, it's time to get ready for the season and this opener, get ready to go to Lambeau. I love where our team's at. There again, we just finished basically 6 weeks, 5 weeks of true work on the grass, and we've gotten better and better every week on both sides of the ball. I feel like we've really progressed. We've gotten 2 different looks from other teams too, you know, Miami and Houston this week, and I just think we've gotten a variety of work. I think we've tested each other. I think we've grown from it. And I think we're going to be ready to go. I'm fired up right now, so we're going to be good.
Just real quick update.
Yeah, there's Dan Campbell saying what I think a lot of us feel right now. It's time to get ready for the real season. I mean, you've been through camp. You've been through 4 preseason games. That Green Bay game is now on the rise, and they have a lot of work to do on the roster that we'll talk about. But you could tell from his face, his comments, his attitude, he's ready to get on to the real games that count and get out there with his number ones.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody feels that way, especially the veterans in that locker room, because you're ready, Dan. At this point, you're ready. You feel like you're ready physically, mentally, you're ready to go. You just want things to start up, and I'm glad, you know, no injuries.
Yep.
You know, that was a good thing to end this preseason off with, too.
All right, Lions fall to the Texans by a score of 26-7. We'll take a break, come right back, post-game show rolling on right after this. All right, Dan Campbell's comments a moment ago said there weren't many guys that were popping with big plays on defense in this game, but when somebody made a play, it was either Trevor Nowoski or Lauren Strickland. Strickland's interesting because he's in that safety group, which there's some numbers there. He made a statement today. He played in 7 games for the Lions last year, but in this game, 9 tackles, 8 of them solo today.
Yeah, Dan, I can see the scenario where we're rolling out 3 safeties. I mean, again, we've seen this. They had a situation where they had Rock Yassin down in the box as a linebacker and had 2 safeties deep. So I could see us possibly going with 3 safeties, so it would make sense for Lauren Strickland to kind of be in that number because he did. He had a nice day. And like you say, Trevor Nowaski, man, he was
everywhere.
all over the field today.
Yeah, and Coach, that's one of the guys he said before the game. He said, I want to see what Trevor does. I want to see him go out there and play another solid game, and he got a lot of snaps today, and he made a lot of plays. So those guys, I think, when it comes to making a statement for the coaching staff and saying, hey, I'm here, I can do something for you, I think Nowaski and Strickland, two guys that have been on this roster, both made plays in this game today, which is exactly what you wanted to do.
And that's what you need. And again, we keep talking about special teams, how important that's going to be this year. So those guys could be a perfect fit for us on the special team.
Guy who looks like a perfect fit every time he goes out there is Isaac Tesla. Another touchdown. He had a touchdown in 3 consecutive games for the Lions. Today he did it again. Nice 33-yard connection with Kyle Allen. He spoke in the locker room a few moments ago.
So for the preseason for you, 10 catches on 13 targets, 146 yards, 3 TDs. How do you think you can still get better?
Every way. I think obviously, it's nice to have those catches, those targets, just kind of get that chemistry down with the quarterback and the offense as a whole to be able to run through the plays we've been repping on in practice. I think there's just so many small details I can continue to work on. Obviously, you watch the guys in our room, the veterans. I think there's just so many things they do well I can continue to watch and improve on.
Dan Campbell said that every time you touch the ball, every time you make a play and do something, not only do you gain the trust of the coaches, but also your teammates. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, that's my ultimate goal. Obviously, as a rookie, still trying to find my role on this team. So just to be able to build the trust from the coaching staff and the offense as a whole, the play callers, and then ultimately my teammates, I think is a super, super big thing for me as a rookie.
What is it about this offense you think that your game matches with so well?
I think just the way I play the game, and I think that's the big reason why they brought me into Detroit, is just the way I go about my business every single day, whether it's catching the ball, what I do in the run game. I think I just bring physicality and toughness.
I know you don't take anything for granted that you've made this team, but there's a lot of people saying you potentially could be wide receiver number 3 on the depth chart. Just from here, where do you go mentally? Tell me what the next few days will be like for you.
It's nice to kind of wrap up camp a little bit. I wouldn't say take a break, but, kind of get out of that camp mode. In terms of being, where we're stacking up in terms of the receiver room, I don't think we need to put a number on anyone. I think we got a great receiver room, and we can throw anyone out there. I don't think, we need to throw a number on anyone.
What are you thinking about when the ball's in there? Are you excited or nervous or what's up?
I'd say it's more of just a routine thing. The ball's in the air, I'm going to go catch it. I'm not really thinking about too much rather than, just catching the ball.
Had you practiced that worm before? You were pretty good at that.
I've done it a few times. I've never done it in the end zone before, so that was the first time for that. But it was kind of just, I didn't really know what to do, and I was on the ground. I'm like, screw it, I'll do the worm.
That's definitely for the younger guys, Lo. We get hurt if we tried
that. I see a couple of kids running in this end zone, and they're doing the Isaac Tesla in the end zone.
Isaac Tesla, another real nice game for the Lions today. You heard Dan Campbell say every time he goes out there, he does something positive. Take a break, come right back. All right, Lions fall to the Texans 26-7. Was a big day for Hendon Hooker. Needed to make a statement. Didn't necessarily happen. He's talked in the locker room a short time ago.
And one of the things that Dan said before this game was he didn't want guys to overthink it too much, just go in and play free. To that end, how much did you do that? And tell me what you liked and about your performance today.
Yeah, I played free all day. Had fun. Tried to make some plays and some throws when they were there, and try to make them when they weren't there. So just trying to go out there and command the huddle was my biggest concern, and having fun. That's what I did today.
Another thing that Coach talked about was just getting better each game. Do you feel like you did that? How do you assess just your performance in this preseason and where it might put you on this depth chart?
Yeah, I did. Improve each game. That second game was probably the worst ball handling I had in my career, which isn't me. And I felt like I capitalized on things that I needed to work on game after game. And every day at practice, I showed up.
One of the things that Coach told us is when they're evaluating quarterbacks at this stage is how much room for development, in a good way, still is there. Where do you feel like there is more room for development in your game?
There's always room for development. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. You're never staying the same, so there's always room. There's things in my game that I would like to improve, and I'll continue to work on those.
How do you approach the next few days now with changes in the roster coming on Tuesday?
I stay myself, continue to work hard and control the things that I can control.
Dan Campbell talked about 3 possibilities when it comes to a guy like Hendon Hooker or any player you're making a decision on. How much development is left? Does he need a change of scenery? And if you keep him, how does it impact other positions? He did not make it easy on this coaching staff, which is what he wanted to do.
Yeah, he had the opportunity to make a big statement today. Didn't make that statement, Dan. Now the sad part is he can't control anything. It's out of his hands what happens. And that's the sad part, being a professional athlete.
Dan Campbell also pointed out the fact that there's some crazy things going on around him when you're not playing with the ones or even the twos and you're playing with a lot of backups. But Hendon Hooker needed a better preseason. We'll see where it goes from here. Big decisions coming up over the next 72 hours. That'll do it for our post-game show. Thanks to everybody here that made it happen. Thanks to you for being with us. Have a great day, everybody.